Harry Perryman's job tonight on Naz. I mean, that's one of the best tagging jobs we've seen in a long time.
I don't care about all the stats and that from the boys. He was best on ground for us tonight. I don't know how many touches he had, but continually just does a role for the team. And he's such a good player, such a good lad to have around the team. And I think it sort of got discussed during the week if anyone wants to play on Naz. And Bez was the first to put his hand up. He just loves it. He wanted to go with him everywhere, and he did it great tonight.
Do you and your brother have a little bet on the side there, just who can get the most possessions?
No, we don't. No, we don't. But he's finding it a lot half back, and he's doing a lot of damage. So it's good having him back there.
Mate, how good is this win for this team?
Oh, it's massive. We don't get too carried away. We understand we've got Adelaide in 6 days, who strong team. They finished first on the ladder. So much firepower going forward too. So we'll start to prepare for them. But it's so nice to have the families back in the rooms and just soak this one in.
Great start of the race. See you, mate.
Thanks, Moots.
Brilliant work there by Cameron Mooney. Nathan Buckley, he is as impressive off the field as he is on it. He's a brilliant young man.
Yes, he's carried himself with aplomb, throughout his 4 years into his 5th season. But just the husky voice, I wonder, you know where that comes from. Like he would be the loudest player out on the field. Like not only directing his teammates but calling for the ball. It'll take him 24 hours to recover because if you want the ball as bad as he does and he works so hard, that's where that would have come from.
You definitely could hear it, couldn't you? And Moons commented in the game about how he was also, as much as he was getting the ball, he was also not getting it at times when he was in space just because of all that hard running.
Well, if you had him mic'd up, it'd be fascinating.
Presents himself. Yeah, presents beautiful. I mean, when you say Collingwood might fall over, we know they've got a lot of veteran players, but he's a 22-year-old in his 5th year. And he's an absolute match winner, and they're going to have him for another generation. Another match winner is Jordan De Goey, who particularly early bucks was spectacular. 3 goals, 7 score involvements. There was a few pieces of play where he, Pendlebury and Dacos all combined, and it was just like, well, that's what happens when players of that high calibre hit the scoreboard. Yeah, and he had Windhager assigned to him for the majority of the match, and he doesn't have to have a lot of touches to be able to have high impact on the game, and he was able to play that centre forward role, and that one's just bread and butter for him. But to be able to hit the scoreboard, to be able to win key contests, he's not going to be a 40 possession getting player ever, but he hurts absolutely with his touches, generally because they're front of centre. So Naz was the first player, the highest ranked player on the field in the first half, Leigh, and in the second half, the 37th. So that was the drop-off. Harry Perryman, as Nick just said, he thinks he was the best on ground from a club perspective. Just the job he was able to do in shutting him down. The role. I mean, the opposition match winner, and they win the game. Obviously, there's nothing much at half-time. But then in the second half, the opposition match winner was just shut down, denied time and space. I mean, that's the thing with any player, really, any of those midfielder types. I mean, you're going to get a body wanting to take control of you so that you don't have an easy run at the ball and that kind of ilk. And I suspect he's only burst onto the scene, as we've talked about, the last half season, Wanganeen-Milera. But you would have thought, you watched that today, you thought, to beat St Kilda, because he's such a good player when he's on and when he gets the ball in his hands. Trying to shut him down would be just almost the first priority, wouldn't it? And going forward, even more so. He's got to cop that, isn't he? I wouldn't have thought so. Well, he's going to have to cop that every week now. So, and it's he'll have, I think Flanders recruiting is going to be really important. He'll find his way through the midfield, but he is their gun. And probably Nick Dacos has probably had, Scott Pendlebury, Jack Crisp at different times still sideboard him through the midfield. He's had other players to take a little bit of the weight off his shoulders, despite the fact that he's been an absolute standout and been tagged heavily. But you've got to take that next stage of your evolution, and Naz is going to cop that through this year. There's a lot of teams that don't tag just on principle. That's true. But those that do have a tag, whenever they play St Kilda, he's going to get it, and he's going to have to work his way through. He found that tough. He was up against a quality opponent tonight, but he better get his head around it because it's going to happen a lot. And Perryman found a bit of the ball himself as well. You can see there 22 disposals and 300 metres gained. So it had a significant impact. So the Saints play Melbourne next week. So now it's over to them, and the blueprint really for how to shut him down has been set tonight. It has, but the pressure now builds a little bit on St Kilda. They didn't get the result they wanted in front of the massive crowd, the big home game that they had at the MCG. They then face an opponent that they're expected to beat next week. They wouldn't want to slip up. All of a sudden you start to have those doubts, and they fell into a few of the same old traits that we saw. Under pressure it just went wrong and they didn't make good decisions. So they need to bounce back in a big way next week.
All right, an injury concern for one of St Kilda's big men in Rowan Marshall, who was taken from the field after a head knock. John Ralph has the latest. Ralphie, how's he doing?
Well, not so well. He's using the concussion protocols. We'd hope to see the St Kilda Ruck Dream team tonight. It never really eventuated. He only had 5 or 6 possessions until he was concussed, and the incident there was some friendly fire. The Cooper Sharman needed the back of the head, so he eventually wandered off, and then, of course, the Scat 6, and he failed that one. You remember in 2024, he basically refused to go off when a club doctor was keen to get him off the field for a head knock, and that actually changed the AFL's concussion rules. This time he got off there with a high five there from Mitch Owens, but unfortunately he's out for next week. So he misses against Melbourne and Max Gawn, the same Max Gawn who last year said of Tom Niconing, he will be the best player of our generation. So buckle up for that ride. It wasn't the combination tonight, but certainly Tom Niconing goes one-on-one with Max Gawn next Sunday at the MCG.
That is a battle worth looking forward to. Nathan, what did you make of the performance tonight from Tom? He took a couple of good marks and was quite the presence around the ground.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought Darcy Cameron was the best big fella on the ground, having said that. But I think TDK came in and showed us what he's got, his strength. So in the ruck, in the aerial contests, he was really strong. And he does get down to those ground balls as discussed, which is probably something that is quite, not unique, but it's a standout trait for him against other ruckmen. But maybe this highlights why it doesn't hurt to have 2 number-1 ruckmen, because if one goes down next weekend, at least you're not going to have any trouble filling the ruck spot. So he'll be an important part of St Kilda's 2026 season and beyond.
Yeah, I thought he did okay. He did what you thought he would probably do. I mean, the point, and it is a relevant point. He's probably the second highest paid player in the game. Is the role that he plays that valuable? And the problem would be, I'd say, no. And it might be because he might be a very good ruckman. He might take a few marks around the ground. But can he be an absolute match winner? Because that's what he has to be if you want to talk about value per dollar.
Yeah, it is certainly an interesting one. As you said, every club has the same salary cap to spend, so it's their discretion how they spend it. Leigh, what would Ross Lyon be saying to his men tonight? Because they were good, they just weren't able to be good enough.
Oh, well, I mean, they got beaten by 2 scoring shots. I mean, there's plenty of okay things out of the game. I thought it was a very just a battle, bit of an arm wrestle kind of game, and Collingwood did a fraction better. They won by a couple of goals. So, after round 1, you're not jumping on your team. You just, as you will do, you'll feel bad because we lost, but then in a day's time you'll review the game and see what we can learn going forward. So that will be the attitude he will take, I'm sure. All
right, we're going to learn a little bit more now because Cameron Mooney has tracked down the coach of the Collingwood Football Club. Craig McRae is alongside him, Moons.
All right, Fly. How happy are you, mate?
Oh, well, we haven't won around 0, so this is a new experience for us. But
we're only 3 years into it.
I know. But, no, just really pleased. I thought there's so many parts of our game tonight that we've been practicing all pre-season to try to come to fore, and we had like 140 uncontested marks. Maybe that's an extreme number, but we controlled the ball. But our best players played well, and I'm really happy.
So you spoke to us before the game about Pendles and the way that you wanted to use him because of the 5-man rotation. It seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah, he was amazing, wasn't he? And just his cleanness when everyone else was a bit tired, and that was a plan. You never know how it's going to work because it's only early stages of 5 in the bench, but geez, he was pivotal, wasn't he?
Is it a plan going forward, or is it a week-by-week basis?
Well, I think this time of the year we certainly have a hotter temperatures, and the game's very transitional. So I'm conscious of that in the game plan, and maybe in the early rounds we might consider that. Yep.
You mentioned your best players. Let's talk about a few of them. We'll talk about the 2 Dacos boys.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Did Nick have 41 or something like that?
Yeah. I think Josh had about 38.
Yeah. No, they're incredible players for us. I had a great meeting with Nick the other day, just talking about how we get him to be the best version and how we can support that. And then Josh has had an amazing pre-season. He's probably been the best on track for over a month. It's going to show up somewhere. Even Jordan to Goey, three goals. Yeah, his GPS was off the charts earlier. We just had to manage him a bit because he really was burning the GPS up.
Yeah. What about Darcy through the middle of the ground? I mean, he's obviously coming up against 2 quality ruckmen. Yeah. More than held his own.
Oh, well, he's a good signing, isn't he, TDK? And Darcy's so pivotal to us marking the ball. Well, he could have got a couple of chopping arm free kicks tonight, but that tends to happen. But probably most proud I am of the defence, the back line. Minus 20-odd inside 50s against, and just fought and really hard to score against.
Well, obviously coming into the game, you've lost a couple of your key defenders. So going in, what were you thinking, like, you know, we're going to struggle tonight, are these boys going to step up? And they did. That must be pleasing.
Really, what, the 66 points? Yeah. I think Sarah said before the game that you have to kick over 100 points to win. Well, that's not a version that tonight proved that we can defend the ground really well.
There's a man back here called Trevor Hendy.
Yeah.
I grew up idolising this man.
Yep.
What does he do at the footy club?
Well, he's our leadership guy, and he leads beautifully with our leaders, but he's my personal mentor. I've had him for the last 2 or 3 years, and he sort of just keeps me in a great energy and to do the job well.
Has he taught you how to catch a wave yet?
He did. Actually taught me how to body surf. Not well, but he's fantastic for our group, and we're very lucky to have him.
Coming into tonight, St Kilda, clearly, I've spoken about this a couple of times, St Kilda the talk of the town, and rightly so. And the other talk was Collingwood ready to fall off?
Yeah.
Did you take notice of that?
Oh, you listen. Do you take much notice? You do listen. Look, you have just great trust in what we're doing. I felt like coming to the ground tonight, I said before the game to the panel, it feels like we just got to wake up the muscle memory.
Yeah.
Because we've got great chemistry. So I thought we woke up our muscle memory, yeah.
Mate, it was a fantastic result, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Good to see you. Thanks, Gary.